Today's society is under threat from a number of sources. Terrorism, the economy and the environment are all concerns. None, however, is terrifying as the current outbreak of zombies. In this short video we will speak with a number of experts on the subject to find out how we can understand and consequently defeat the zombies. Dr. Vinyl is an expert from a university in zombie psychology and has been studying the zombie mind for a number of years.
Okay, right. What goes on in the mind of a zombie? Well, as a psychologist we can refer to neuroscience and looking at particular areas of the brain and seeing how they can explain some of the characteristics of zombieism. We can start off with one of the features, which is a lack of logical thought, inability to control their behaviour, and that focuses on the sort of like this frontal part of the brain, in particular the frontal lobe. So damage to the frontal lobe can explain why they have no ability to think, and also poor impulse control, so they have no brake on their behaviour. Another characteristic of zombieism is uncontrollable hunger, so they do like to eat an awful lot, and in particular they like to eat human brains, and that can be explained by damage to the hypothalamus. So animals, rats, pigeons, etc., and humans that have damage to hypothalamus are often found to be very obese. Finally, this very distinctive, as you can sort of see, zombie shamble can be explained by referring to areas of the brain called the cerebellum, which can explain this sort of lack of balance that they have, and also the basal ganglia and sort of like poor motor control. So there we have it, the mind of a zombie.
Although zombie attacks have increased in recent years, they are not a new phenomenon. Professor Alex Wright is a leading expert in zombie history at the Institute of Zombie History, a research organisation on zombie history.
Good morning, Professor Wright at your service. Now, the historiography of zombie attacks is often seen as part of the modern world, but the reality is that zombie historiography is very long and distinguished, along with my academic record. Now, zombies have been found throughout history. The destruction of Jamestown in the early 17th century, through to the popularity of Made in Chelsea, I believe these phenomena can only be understood with reference to the undead. A real attack that occurred in the small Bavarian town of Kaisersumbrot in 1502 was put down as a painting by Count Albrecht von Hasselhoff-Meerschweinchen. Fortunately, the Count was able to present this image before he himself became a victim of the undead. Now, history points to the reality that it is isolated regions with extremely low levels of culture, low levels of economic output, and general low intelligence that are favoured by zombies for their attacks. And therefore, it can have little surprise for us all to learn that Australia has become ground zero for zombie assaults in the modern world.
One of the key ways we can prepare ourselves against the zombie hordes is to understand the statistics surrounding these creatures and their attacks. Where are they likely to happen? What can increase survival chances, and what part of your body are they naturally most likely to attack first? Dr. Bramhall is a senior researcher at Biohazard Emergency and Rescue Division.
So, according to my recent research, if we have a look at this graph here, we notice that the speed in which you transform into a zombie after being bitten is generally 2 minutes. So you do not have time to get a injection to save yourself. So where's the best place to hide? Well, according to my recent extensive research, the shed is not a good place. Igloos are quite good, not very good in a toilet. They like toilets. However, if you go to the Antarctic, they do not like the cold, so that's quite a good place to hide. Bognor Regis is the worst place to go. There's an infestation of zombies in Bognor Regis. However, the worrying statistic is that zombies can reproduce. Against all common knowledge, we thought that you could only become a zombie by being bitten. No, they reproduce, and I've discovered this equation. The population of zombies is increasing at a rate of 2000 e to the 4000 t, where t is in seconds. This means that in about 2 years' time, there'll be about 30 billion zombies on the earth. So we've got no chance. Never mind. Just to make things worse, if we look at the lifespan of a zombie, we noticed that once transformed into a zombie, the average or the mean lifespan of a zombie is 70 years. These things last a long time, so what's my advice? Kill yourself now.
Zombies from a biological perspective are a set of contrasting attributes, slow, diseased and lacking of many motor skills. When motivated, they can be surprisingly powerful and quick. Professor Graham from the North explains more.
Biology of zombies, or zombie virology as it is technically known. A zombie is the reanimation of a dead corpse. The state of zombies comes about from a victim being inflicted with the selenium virus. The selenium virus enters the body through a bite and then travels in the bloodstream up to the brain. Once in the brain, the selenium virus embeds itself in this frontal lobe and multiplies. This multiplication of the virus in the frontal lobe causes the frontal lobe to completely disintegrate. The loss of the frontal lobe is fatal. It causes the heart to stop. Once the victim has died from its fatal heart attack, the virus spreads and causes mutations throughout the body, mutates the organs, but some of the mutations manage to reactivate some primary brain functions, allowing the corpse essentially to reanimate. The basal functions of the brain remain: the need to feed, and the zombie's favourite food is human flesh.
In this last segment, we will speak with one of the most famous men in zombies folklore. Once part of a crack unit of zombie hunters, he now works freelance. In 1992, he escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Surrey Underground. Today, still wanted by the government, he survives as a soldier of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help you, and if you can find him, maybe you can hire Mr. Moore.
Zombies. The undead, notoriously difficult to kill because they're already dead. Many ways to kill zombies, however. Key is to focus on the thing that's keeping them alive, which is their brain. My favourite method of killing has to be with a chainsaw. Though this is not suitable for beginners, the chainsaw being heavy, difficult to move, it can also have a kickback that could kill you. All said, it's the most glorious way to dispatch the dead. It creates a huge mess and will attract more zombies, making the fun you can have endless. Just make sure you've something like a pencil to hand, so if you do run out of fuel, you can still stab them in the brain, preferably through the eye socket, to create that brain ooze and keep yourself safe. Please don't have nightmares.